Hello, I'm Ignace Aleya from ColoratedCinematics.com, and today I will be showing you how to create this. Alright, that's pretty cool. Let's open up After Effects and get started. Like always, if you don't wish to follow this tutorial or you want to support our channel, you can buy this template on our website. Alright, so here we are in Adobe After Effects and we will start creating a golden text. So let's create a new composition. I will rename this title effect or title comp. Make it full HD and around 300 frames, which means it's 10 seconds long because I'm using a frame rate of 30, but that's completely up to you, whatever you prefer. And I'll click OK. Here I'll go to my text tool, click on my text and click on my canvas. And I will write subscribe for more. Well, actually just subscribe, which is what you should do. With that being said, I will just click on my selection tool and then go to my align tool and click here on horizontal and vertical center, so it's centered out, and I will hold shift on my keyboard and press the up arrow, which is going to put it a little bit more to the well, it's not going to be perfectly centered, but it's going to be visually centered, and yeah, it just looks a little bit better visually. Apart from that, I don't have any explanation for this. Okay, so we have our text. I will swap my colors because currently the color is in the stroke. I will swap them. So my text itself is actually filled and I don't have a stroke here. I will use the font Lato semi-bold. That's fine. A full caps text, as you can see right here. And then I will start editing this. So click on the text, go to layer, layer style, and then gradient. Now we have a gradient on our text, so let's open up our gradient right here, click open, and edit our gradient. And here we can do some cool things. Actually, we're going to try and simulate a kind of silver text, and afterwards we're going to color it golden. But just try to create some highlights, like start with a top that's pretty dark, make it very light or bright, well actually on top, make it very bright. Here, make it a little bit darker gray, and then right here we can actually make it darker, even like so. And then here around this point we'll make it fairly light, and then at the very end I will make it maybe darken it up a little bit, and then move this one around, and then just make one lighter one here, and just play around with these settings. As you can see, we're starting to create something pretty cool. I'm going to move this one to the right a little bit more. Maybe make it a little bit lighter so it's not that obvious. And in between you can make one here. And this is just creating some depth by just adding all these colors. Getting some fun stuff with this. You can also move these diamonds around, and that's going to make sure, like, if you don't want any feather, it's going to move this color more to the left, and yeah, back and forth. Something like this looks fine, I suppose. And let's just add a darker one right here, so a little bit darker, and there we go. I need to delete this color. Keep it like so, and this one a little bit brighter, and this one as well. So very subtle colors here, very subtle color change, but that's what's going to make it. So we have our gradient on our text. I think this one looks cool, so I have some lighter colors right here, and then darker colors just to give it some depth, and then lighter colors over here. So click OK once you're satisfied with your gradient. What we'll do then is just click on our text and just go to edit, duplicate. And here we're going to swap these colors right here. So if we swap them, we're going to get outlines. And so now we have a stroke around our image, and we're going to make like 3 pixels wide or big. And then we'll open this up and go back to our layer styles, go back to the gradient overlay, and then we will click on the reverser. Currently it's off. If we click this on, we're going to see these highlights on the edges. And this is going to give the idea that it's actually 3D. So if we zoom in here, change this to full resolution 100%, okay. I will just change a little bit of the gradient, so let's edit it. And then right here, we'll see that this is the top part. I will make this completely white, so we have a nice highlight on the top. maybe also over here on the center, so we have some highlights here on the top of our text. We'll move this darker one up a little bit, and this one a little bit more as well, and darken this color here. Okay, there we go. And then we can move up our highlights again and get something like so. And there we go. So if we're going to check this, if we uncheck this layer, you're going to see that it makes a really big difference to our complete view here. And now we actually have like a, yeah, like a silver color. What we can do if you want to change the text is just open up these tabs here and go into the text for both of these layers. And now we can alt click on this one here and just pick with the parent tool to the source text. And now if we're going to change our text to like the video, it's going to change with it. Of course, if you're going to scale it down and stuff like that, or change the font, it's not going to follow along. So you can also parent the scale and stuff like that. So that's completely up to you, but let's change it to tolerated for now. Well, of course, we changed the bottom text, we need to change the top text. What I also do is, because sometimes you will click on the bottom text by accident, is just locking this layer, and I will also toggle the switches and click on this here. And if we then click on this icon that hide all layers that are well, pushed down here, and now we don't see another layer, but there is still that other layer. So now we can change this one, and the other one will change as well. So that's a little hint if you want to keep an overview on your project. Okay, so we have our text here. I will select my text and actually unlock this for now. Select both of my text layers, go to layer, pre-compose, title text. And now we have a composition. And yeah, if we still want to change our text, we just head in here and change our text. So what we will do now is head into the title text. We'll duplicate one of these text layers. Well, actually, we want this one, so we'll duplicate it. And we'll just rename it alpha, and then we'll also give a color to the fill. And now we want actually this to also follow the source, so I'm also going to check text source, and I'm going to alt click here and just parent it with this source text. And there we go. I'm going to change these in another color, so I know that if I want to change it, I have to change this one. Also, I'll keep it as it is right now. And then I'm going to import an image right here. I have this texture that you can actually find on Google. Use something that you like. I have here a iron texture. I will drag this into my composition below the alpha text here. And then I will click toggle the switches, and then right here you will see track matte, alpha matte, and now it's only going to fill that text here. I'm going to press S on the keyboard to scale it down until I'm satisfied. And then you can reposition it the way you want it to be. So like right here we have some scratches which look cool. So it's completely up to you. Just search a spot that you actually like. Okay, once you're satisfied, you can go to the blending mode and change it to an overlay. And now if we zoom in here, you're going to see some scratches. So if we uncheck that, it's going to give a little bit more detail to our shot. I'm going to lower the opacity to something like 75. And then we can also go to effect, color correction, curves, for example, and just add some curves in here, so it's becoming a little bit more contrasty. You can also go to effects, sharpen, unsharp mask, and increase this so it becomes even sharper, and you're going to define everything a little bit more, and that's completely up to you, whatever you prefer. I'm going to set it 150. So now we have our image with our texture here, and that's going to look pretty cool. So if we jump back to our title comp, we can see now that we have our complete text. Now what I will do is click on my text, title text composition, go to effect, color correction, tritone, and here I will change some of these colors to make it a gold look. So I will go in here and change this to a very bright yellow color. Click OK. Then the second one, I will go in the orange tones and get a nice, well, yeah, golden orange, so not too much. Something like this looks pretty cool, but yeah, that, of course, this is completely up to you. You can even go and get some nice black colors if you want to. So I think this is pretty close. I'll click OK. And then for the blacks, you can also go in a dark brown color That's also going to help out a little bit. Okay, I like this one. And I will desaturate my yellow a little bit so it becomes this nice gold look. Okay, there we go. So now we have a golden text, which looks pretty nice. And then you can also go in here, effect, color correction curves, and add some contrast if you want to make it pop a little bit more, depending on whatever you want. Go in the red channel, push these reds a little bit, go into the blue channel, and make them become a little bit more orange, and that's going to change it up a little bit. Actually, I do prefer the original one, so we'll just add a little bit of contrast here, and I like it to be very subtle. So I like this kind of text, pretty cool. Now what I did is created a new background, and actually I always look at my footage with well, like this is a golden look, and the opposite of gold or like orange is blue, so I will go for a blue background. So for now it doesn't matter, I will click black background and just rename this to background. Click OK, and then just put it below our layer and go to effect, generate, gradient ramp, and then I will change my ramp to a radial ramp, change the white color to a very dark desaturated blue, and then go for the start color and then change this to a nice blue color right here. Okay, so this looks pretty cool, and you can see that it really makes your text pop because these two are complementary colors, so that looks just a lot better. And if you go back to your project file, you can again import a texture if you want to, and then just change the blending mode to an overlay as well. And that's going to add a little bit of texture to your background. Maybe add it, well, classic color dodge might look cool as well. If you lower the opacity here, you can do some cool things with that. And then I'm going to right click new adjustment layer, and I'm going to rename this to vignette, and that's going to add a little bit of vignette to our scene. So go to the rectangle tool here and change it to an ellipse tool, and then I will double click on it, so that will make a mask on our layer. Effect, color correction curves, and then just bring down these curves, subtract it. Currently it's on add, press F on the keyboard to feather it, just increase this feather, and now we have some yeah, these nice edges here that make our text pop a little bit more. So that looks pretty cool. Next, what I did is actually added a camera to my scene. Well, actually, I will also right click a new solid layer, particular. And this is an external plugin that I use, so if you don't have it, you can't follow along. It's a paid plugin, but it's actually a really nice plugin. So click on that solid, go to effect, trap code, particular, and then I will change my emitter to a box, and then just increase the X here. And actually you don't see any particles. If I solo this right now and you scrub through it, it's going to start emitting. I want it to be emitting from the start, so what I'll do is go to emission extras and just pre-run it 100, and that's going to have a pre-run, so they are going to be on my screen immediately. And then I will just increase the X until it's covering my whole scene. Same for the Y, and then just increase the Z so we have a lot of particles in Z space. I'm going to change my particles per second to something like 5,000, and then you can see all these particles, which are pretty cool. Go into the particle and change it to a nice gold color as well. Click OK. Go for the feather and just set this at 0 so we have hard spheres here. And the life can be, yeah, 3 is okay. And then we can go back into the opacity over life, and then just, well, I will make it a little bit bigger. Just select this last preset. That's going to fade them out and also flicker them out. So if we're going to preview this, you're going to see if they die off, they actually flicker a little bit, and that looks kind of cool. And I'm also going to fade it in, so I'm going to drag in something like so. Now we're going to fade in and then flicker out. Okay, that's it. You can also go in here and go into the physics. What I did is go to the air and just put this wind at like minus 2000, I suppose, and then they're going to fly to the camera, which is pretty cool. You can also go in the turbulence field and add a little bit of turbulence effect position, and also scale. You can set this at something like 2, so it's going to be less yeah, harsh, I suppose. So now we have some moving particles like so. What I also did is play with the physics time factor. What that will do is just make it a little bit slower. So I'll put this at like 0.1. And now we have something like this. Of course, we have to drag this solid now to the left because it's really slow and we can't actually pre-run it. So just drag it and extend it until we have more particles in the scene. I think this is as high as we can get. I'm also going to change the size random here to 100% so we have a lot of variation in here. And for the velocity, I will actually put this at 0 for everything. And now we have something like this. Okay, the time factor can be a little bit faster, so I will put it at like 0.3. It's because of the velocity that it was quite fast. Okay, there we go. So this looks pretty cool. I like this one. Okay, so now let's unsolo this, and now we can actually see it on our background, but it doesn't look nearly as good. So I'm going to change the blending mode to a screen, and then I'm also going to put my camera and press A twice. So press A twice quickly. And that's going to open up all the camera options. And here you see depth of field currently set at off. If we check this on, you're still not going to see much difference, but the magic is in the aperture. If we're going to increase this to something like 350, and then we are going to change the focal, the focus distance to something like 1000, we're going to see a difference here. So our particular isn't updating. Click on particular and just push one seed, and that's going to update it immediately. So focus distance, play around with this. Okay, maybe lower this to something like 250. Focus distance of 750 or something like this. Okay, there we go. I have to reset my seed all the time. So, and the higher you go in your aperture, the more depth of field you'll get on the sides here. So this looks pretty cool. I am going to increase my rates here, so I'm going to make 50,000 out of them. And this looks pretty cool as well. I will go in here and change the transfer mode to screen or to add. And now we get this kind of look, which is also pretty cool. And of course, you can go and do whatever you want, like 50,000 might be a little bit too much. Maybe go for 20,000. It's going to add a little bit less. I'm going for 25. Okay, so this looks pretty cool in my opinion. Then I will put this below my vignette so we get these edges a little bit more, and then we still have some contrast in here. And then also right click, add adjustment layer, rename this to glow, and I will put this on top here. And I will add a preset that I made, and that's called Perfect Glow right here. You can actually get it for free on the website. And this is going to add a little bit of glow, but right now it doesn't look as good, so we have to change our project manager to 32 bits per channel, and that's going to change it like so. And then if we're going to increase or lower this intensity, it's going to do that for all of these here below. Maybe increase the threshold a little bit, and it's all affecting, so all these presets are doing its thing now. If we uncheck this, you can see that it's really doing a nice glow here. Maybe add a little bit of radius, and it's all also maybe lower our radius a little bit. Okay, so now we have harder shadows, and this one looks pretty cool. Okay, really cool. I like this one. And then you can right click and add a final grade, so adjustment layer, grade, and again go to effect, color correction, curves, play around a little bit with the contrast, make it a little bit darker, and go to effect, color correction again, and add a tint. And here we're going to change it to something like 25, so it's not as harsh, these colors, because we're pushing the contrast here, and it's also going to push the colors a little bit, so I desaturate them a little bit because that's what I prefer. So yeah, there we go. Now we have something like this. If we're going to preview this, we get something pretty cool. What I also did is just animated the background a little bit and together with the text. So I will click on my background together with the texture that we added to it, layer, pre-compose, background, and then I'll select my text layer and my background, press S on the keyboard, click on the scale, and then actually I made it a little bit smaller. But what I did on the background is actually added a tile, motion tile right here. I will add this to my background. Click on the mirror edges, 150. That's going to copy it and mirror the background. And then a little bit further away, I will zoom in together with my text. So it's actually doing this kind of 3D motion. And this looks really cool. Now you can also add light leaks if you want to. We have made some on our website. You can download them for free, 5 different light leaks, and if you want more of them, we have a pack for sale where we have more than 100 elements, so you can get that and just use the blending modes, and it's including, it has some tutorials included on how to use it. It's actually really simple to use, but that's going to add a little bit more vibrant life to your scene, because currently it has only one color, so these light leaks could help out. But yeah, it's a pretty cool project. I think it looks pretty cool, definitely with New Year around the corner, so I hope you find your use for it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give it a like and also subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.